welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a foundation review and wear test on this foundation here. This is the Maybelline Superstay 24-Hour Skin Tint. Now, the Maybelline Superstay was not a favorite foundation of mine because it is so full coverage. So when I saw that they came out with a skin tint version, I immediately knew I had to pick this up. So today's video is going to be a first impression. I'm gonna go through applying this foundation. You're gonna see that nice up close and personal. Afterwards, I'll be doing a 4-hour check-in outside in natural daylight, inserting in some swatches. I do actually have 2 shades that I picked up, so I'll be able to compare both of these shades against some other foundations that I have in my collection. And then I'll be going into a end of day check-in around the 8 to 10 hour mark and just giving my first impression overall thoughts on this foundation. So if that sounds good to you, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. But first, before we apply this, let's just talk about some of the details of this foundation. All right, so it kind of seems like Maybelline is doing almost a soft launch on this foundation. The only place I could find it available was on the Amazon UK website. I could not find it on the Amazon France website, which is where I live. They did have a listing for it, but it was a pre-order and it said it wasn't going to ship until May. So that leads me to believe that maybe around May time, it's gonna be more available just globally. But I purchased mine on the Amazon UK website for about, I think it was £12.84. So that comes out to around $14.15 US if I had to guess, because I don't know the official price yet, that this is going to retail for $14.99. That would be my guess. It does come in 20 different shades, which you would think would be great for a skin tint. However, it seems like most of these shades do lean light. Maybelline was kind of just concerned with the number of shades, not necessarily with the diversity. That's kind of what I got looking at the shade range, but it does come in 20 different shades. I actually picked up 2 because the swatches online weren't great, and since there was very little information online for me to go with, I ended up just picking up 2 shades since it was kind of inexpensive. This foundation is advertised as foundation and skincare at the same time. So I've been doing a lot of foundation reviews recently. Just a lot of companies have been coming out with foundation. And this is something that I'm seeing over and over and over again, is just companies really talking about skincare in their foundation. This claims to have vitamin C, so that is supposed to brighten. This also claims to be very transfer proof. It's supposed to resist sweat, humidity, and fading with 24-hour wear. So it's supposed to be a long wearing skin tint. This does say it has light to medium coverage for a skin tint, and you can either apply it with fingers, sponge, or brush. Blend into the skin, apply more drops for medium coverage, wear alone, or layer with other makeup skincare products. Also claims to be suitable for all skin types, and it comes in this dropper applicator style, which if you've seen any videos on my channel, it is not my favorite. However, this was part of the reason why I actually decided to pick it up, because most of my favorite foundations, I'm thinking of the Beauty Blender Skin Tint, the MAC Water Foundation, something like that. All of those come in dropper style bottles, and those are some of my favorite foundations. For some reason, even though I hate this dropper style, those foundations always work out the best for me. So that was just another reason why I really wanted to try this foundation. And I was looking at just my foundation collection as a whole, and I have a lot of Maybelline foundations. So I think I was missing only 1 or 2 foundations. I ended up also picking up those foundations, and I'm just gonna be testing those over the next few weeks, not necessarily putting videos up on them. I might do some first impressions on some of those. Then though, I plan on doing a ranking all of my Maybelline foundations. I'm actually really excited about that video, just putting all of these up to the test with each other. I think I have like 8 or 9. So that's an exciting video. Make sure you're subscribed for that one. But I still have a lot of research to do and just a lot of note taking and comparisons before that video comes up, but it is coming. That's really all I have to say about this foundation. We're gonna see how it wears. I'm gonna take you through my day. So first off, I'm gonna scoot you in a little bit closer and I'm gonna apply this to my face. Okay, so I picked up 2 shades in this just because I wasn't quite sure what my shade would be, and it was a little bit inexpensive, so I figured might as well pick up 2. I picked up the shade 3, and then I also picked up the shade 6. Now, I'm not sure which one's gonna be for me. I actually, when this came in Amazon, I almost thought that there was a mistake. If the label didn't say 3 and 6, I would have thought this was the exact same foundation. I mean, look at these. These look almost identical in the bottle. Just looking at it, I had to open it up and even just check the inside to see if they're the same shade or not. And if you can tell too, just a little worried because it almost has like this pearl-like finish, and it doesn't say anything about that on the website. So I'm gonna just try both of these and see which one my shade is. It does say to shake it really well, and you can use either your fingers, sponge, or brush to apply. It does come in this like dropper applicator, which is my least favorite. However, most of my favorite foundations come in this type of applicator. You can see already just like how messy the lid's gotten, which I don't like. But here's shade 3, and I'm just gonna swatch it. So this is the, I think, second lightest in the shade range, which isn't bad. Like this might be better for me for dead winter. And now let's look at shade 6 on this side. The monitor might make it look a little bit weird just with my lights too, so I don't want to go off of what the viewfinder shows. Let me just see. And it's more sheer coverage. I had a feeling I was going to go with 6/3, but there's not that much of a difference. They're both warm undertones. I think this is supposed to be more warm neutral undertone, if I remember correctly. But like for having like 4 shades in between these two, like I don't think there's that big of a difference. They're trying to sound good having 20 shades, and I'm not really seeing a diverse shade range here. I'm gonna wipe this off, but I do think I'm gonna go in with shade 3. It's gonna be more my winter shade, and I think 6 is gonna be my summer shade, which is unfortunate. I really don't like having more than one foundation, but since it's drugstore, I'll allow it. Now I just have to decide how I want to apply this. I do have all my skincare on, no primer as per usual, just so I can get a baseline of what this foundation does. And part of me just thinks I should go in with my fingers, but I don't really love that. I'm gonna just like kind of do this. Just kind of apply it this way. I don't want too heavy of a coverage. And I guess I'll just go in with my fingers here, because that's gonna give me the lightest, and then maybe I'll go over it with my sponge to just kind of get into all the cracks my fingers couldn't get into. Even though the bottle shows kind of like that pearly finish, it's not really coming across on the skin, which is nice. I did not want like a glowy highlighter type of foundation. That's not what I look for in a foundation. And I will say that it's feeling very lightweight. 3 is probably more my shade. 6 is my wannabe shade, at least right now, because I really don't have to blend it too far down my neck. And I'm just gonna go in with my sponge and just kind of smooth it out. Make sure I get around my nose and my forehead. This is giving really light coverage, and it's looking very natural and skin-like. I'm just gonna put like a few more drops on my sponge here, just a little bit, and see if I can build up the coverage a bit, just because I wish it was a little bit more. I don't mind light coverage. Today, that's just not what I'm wanting. I'm wanting something a little bit more than just light coverage, more of a light medium. And I want to just see how well this builds on top. I'm actually pretty impressed though. This looks really nice over my skin, especially with no primer. My pores look really nice. So here's what it's looking like right now with 2 layers on using the sponge. I think my pores look really good. It's not settling into my pores. It's not settling into any fine lines like in my forehead. It just looks nice and natural. It's maybe a little bit drying, a little bit matte. I would say this is a natural leaning matte finish almost. So take that with what you will. They don't really say what kind of finish it gives, just more of a sheer finish. I don't know what that means. I would classify this as a natural leaning matte, a demi matte, just because around my mouth, I'm worried it's a little bit dry. So I'm gonna finish the rest of my makeup off of camera. I think that I'll just powder my T-zone, like where I put my concealer, but I'm not feeling like I need to powder this. It is a little bit wet and tacky. I'll play it by ear. I'm gonna do my makeup off of camera, come back, give you my first impressions, and I'll let you know if I powder then. Rest of my makeup is on. I did decide to powder only where I put my concealer with my By Terry Hydra powder. So just under my eyes, kind of on the bridge of my nose where my glasses rest, chin, and then middle of the forehead. I decided not to set the rest. It's slightly tacky, but it's passable. It's not overly tacky. Like if my hair was down, I don't think it would stick to my face. And, you know, it looks good. It's not really giving me skin tint, but I also did put 2 layers on. The only thing I just don't like is for some reason, like around my mouth, it just looks weird. It looks very dry, and that's not typically an area that I struggle with. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, am I just really dry around my mouth today, or is it the foundation? I don't know, because like I said, that's not usually an area of concern for me. It's just looking a little bit dry and powdery, and I don't know, I'm not loving that. Other than just the mouth concern, it looks really nice. It doesn't look too matte. It still is giving a matte finish. So if you don't like matte at all, this is not the foundation for you, just off the bat. I did not set this with any kind of setting spray. I haven't really been doing that as of recent, and especially since I didn't powder, I don't feel the need to. But this is for sure a semi-matte finish, if not a full matte. And we're just gonna see how this goes. Everything that I'm wearing is always listed down in the description box below, but it is time for me to start my day. I've had 2 just really off days, and it's time for me to just get my butt into gear. So I'm gonna go do that. It is around 11 o'clock right now, 11:10, and then I will check in with you all in about 4 hours outside in natural daylight. Okay, it's been about 4 hours now, and here is what the foundation's looking like. It looks really good. I'm surprised. The weird mouth thing, whatever that was, that went away, so I'm happy about that. It's looking a lot less matte now, and my natural oils are kind of coming through, but I still think it looks really skin-like. Yes, it looks like I'm still wearing makeup. Of course, you can kind of still see my texture, but for a foundation without a filter, it looks pretty natural in my opinion. This is kind of what I like in a foundation. Overall, very pleased and surprised. I don't know if I would consider this a skin tint. To me, a skin tint is just going to be really sheer coverage. And while they do say this is light to medium coverage, I don't know why these companies keep categorizing things as skin tints when they're not. But I mean, I'm pretty happy with how this looks. I did want to give like a little update. I talked about this in my Get Ready With Me. I had a little story about the goats that we have, and all of them have now given birth. So I thought it would be fun to just kind of show you all the little goats now. There's 4 total. Let's see what kind of footage I can pull from them, just because they're still a little bit skittish. They're young. They don't know who this big scary person is. So let's see if I can convince them to let me get a little bit close to them. And then after I show the goats, I'll be inserting some swatches, and I'll see you all in my final check-in at the 8-hour mark. Did you want to make an appearance, Zelda? Huh? You just eating some grass? Hello. Hello. Okay. That's very close. That's very close. We don't have to eat my hand. All right. Let's go see if the little baby goats want to say hi. Probably not. Hi, guys. Are you just sunbathing? Nope. okay? Here's this little baby one over here. Hey, buddy. You wanna let me pet you? Hey, it's okay. Hi. Oh, okay, we're scared. It's okay. Pretty cute. There's that black one's the daddy goat. That's his mom over there. But okay, so those are the little babies. I don't know where the fourth one is. She might be over yonder somewhere. There they are. I am now going to be inserting in some swatches, and then I'll see you guys all in the final check-in. It's almost 8 o'clock now, so I've had this foundation on for about 9 hours. It is the end of the day. I'm gonna make this brief because I need to go and make dinner, but this is what the foundation's looking like. And I have to say, for first impressions, of course, I need to test this out more, but first impressions, I am actually quite impressed with this foundation. I like it a lot. I have not touched up this foundation one time, and the only complaint that I have is that it's kind of collecting just in my nose here, but not on this side. So maybe I just applied too much when I was applying it earlier this morning and some of it collected. This foundation looks really, really nice, and I put this through the ringer today. You probably saw when I did my check-in, when the little baby goats did their cameo, it was quite sunny out today. So my partner and I decided to drive to the lake, which is about 10 minutes away, take our dog, go walk around the lake. It's about a 20-minute walk. And right when we were halfway around the lake, it all of a sudden just started pouring rain. So we had to run back to the car. We got soaking wet. I took a photo with my dog. I'll insert it in so you can just see how wet we were. But I haven't had to do that for a foundation wear test yet. So I really tested this out. It does claim that this foundation is humidity proof and sweat proof. It does not say that it's waterproof. It did hold up really well in the rain though. I have no complaints. It's worn down a little bit. Like, I wouldn't say this looks like just when I applied it. You know, there's some wear down, especially where my glasses are, but it looks natural, and that's what I like. It doesn't look clumpy and just breaking apart. You can't really tell where the foundation is versus where my real natural skin is. And I like that. I think this foundation is going to do very well for Maybelline. I did mention this in my intro, but I am just kind of doing a refresh on all my Maybelline foundations, and that's going to take me quite some time, but make sure you're subscribed because I will be going over and ranking and just comparing all of my Maybelline foundations. I did that with my Chanel foundation so far, Charlotte Tilbury. I'm in the process finishing up Dior. Once I have Dior done, I'll really be focusing on Maybelline. So that video is coming. It's just going to take me some time. Right now, this foundation rivals the Matte and Poreless for me, and that's my #1 favorite Maybelline foundation as of right now. I've gone through an actual bottle of that, and there's not very many foundations I can say that for. It's just looking so natural, and I'm blown away by the fact that I have not had to touch this up. My natural oils have come through, but I do agree that this would be great for all skin types, because when I applied this, it did look a little bit matte. I was a little bit worried at first, and I even pointed out, you know, around my lip that it was looking a little bit dry, but I think that's actually my skin. I've started using retinol 2 times a week, so maybe it's just some skin flaking. However, you know, I think if you have dry skin, if you use a hydrating primer, this is gonna look a lot less matte. I did not use any primer today. And I think that if you're oily, it's going to keep your oils at bay, because even in my T-zone, you know, I can get quite shiny. I have normal leaning dry skin, but my oils do come through throughout the day. and you can't even tell. And again, like I have not powdered this, I have not touched it up. Even when I applied it, I didn't powder anything other than my T-zone, just where I had my concealer. So that's just what's impressing me the most. I can't get over it. It just looks so nice. It hasn't really settled into any fine lines. My pores still look fairly blurred. You know, again, it's been 9 hours, so this doesn't look perfect, but for 9 hours, you would think that I've only been wearing this for 2 or 3 hours. That's how good it looks. So overall, I'm really happy that I picked this up. Now, just a pet peeve of mine, other than the dropper application, which I've mentioned in other foundation reviews, just how much I don't like that. I don't like when brands advertise something as a skin tint when it's not. If your foundation is not a sheer coverage, don't call it a skin tint. Like, this is just a trigger word that companies use because they know that it's popular right now. This is just a light to medium foundation. Like, just call it a foundation. I don't know why companies have started this trend of saying things like that when it's something that it's not, probably because that's what makes money. At the end of the day, that's what it's always about, right? But that's just a little rant pet peeve of mine. Other than that, you know, I'm happy with this. Like I said, I did pick up the shade 3. I do think that that is the correct shade for me, at least now in the winter. Maybe summer, shade 6 is gonna be better, but there's not that much diversity between shade 3 and 6. And there's shades in between that. So I'm interested to see what other people think of the shade range. Being that there's 20 shades, you would think that that's good, but I'm thinking that it's just not gonna be enough. That's just my first impression. That's really all I have to say about this foundation so far. I will still be including this in a foundation roundup. So after I've tested about 10 foundations, I put all of those together and then rank those. So that'll be separate from just my Maybelline comparison because there have been a lot of foundations that have been released recently. So look out for that video as well because that'll be coming and I'm interested to see where this sits against other ones. I've had some hits and I've had some really bad misses. I don't have too many thoughts yet on what that comes down to, but that's where I'm just gonna leave you all on this video. Of course, as always, let me know down below in the comments if you plan on picking up this foundation, if you already have it and what your thoughts are. And if you do have it and you like it or dislike it, what's your skin type? What are you doing? So we can all just learn from each other because I only have one skin type. I can only speak for me. And this was a first impression. So I do need to just dive in more and test it with other primers, just see and make sure that this is a versatile foundation. If it's a foundation that only works with one combination, you have to use it with X, Y, Z, then it's not a foundation I'm gonna reach for. I wanna make sure that it's a foundation that's well-rounded. You don't have to stress too much about the products you're pairing with it. So I'm gonna test it out more and I'll report back on what I find. I hope this video was helpful. I hope these swatches were helpful and I will see you all in my next video. Bye everyone.